Welcome to our sixth and our final session with you. I really want to focus today around strength and resilience, but we'll start with our mindfulness relaxation. And what I want to do is talk a little bit more about maybe just you, when you have time on your own, increasing this mindfulness relaxation. And I'm going to talk you through what it's like to kind of build your own safe space. So we'll start in the way that we always do, with some deep breaths in through our nose and out through our mouth. In through the nose and out through your mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And allow your eyes to gently close, but if you choose to have your eyes open, that's also absolutely fine. I want you to think about the space you're in right now. Find yourself a comfortable place. Get yourself in a comfortable position. Allow your feet to just slide on the floor and then just come to a nice restful space where you can just imagine them just moving into the floor beneath you and letting yourself sit deeper into the seat underneath you. And today I want to talk to you about having a safe space. And what I want you to do is just take yourself to a place where you feel the most safe. So in your mind's eye, that could be a bedroom. It could be the sofa that you're sat on, if you're sat on the sofa, or the chair you're sat on. It could be imagining that you're in your garden or at a beach, or it could be imagining being sat on a bench in a park. And what I want you to do is just listen as I count you down from 10 down to 1. And as I count downwards, I just want you to gently allow yourself to relax into that space. 10, relaxing more. 9, taking in your surroundings. 8, thinking about what you would be able to hear in your safe space. 7, thinking about what you might be able to hear. 6, thinking about what's with you. There should be no stress, nothing, no need to hurry. 5, just allowing yourself those moments just to be there. 4, 3, deeper and deeper. 2, 1, just a few moments, just 30 seconds of quiet, where you just enjoy this space that belongs only to you. And allow my voice just to drift into that safe space, but know that it's always here for you whenever you need to return. But gently and slowly, just start to feel the seat beneath you, the floor beneath your feet, and allow yourself to come back to your physical body. Notice your breathing through your nose and out through your mouth, and allow your eyelids to flicker open as we start with our last session today.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Rose.
So today we're going to talk about our strengths, and obviously strengths, it's not just a physical. I think when I think of strength initially, I think of like muscle, but obviously strengths can be personal strengths as well, qualities, mental strengths, as it were, I think. And I think it's very typical that as humans, we think of our weaknesses before we think of our strengths. Like, it's very easy for us to, put ourselves down, not accept compliments. If we do something and it's not perfect, we can really kind of focus on that rather than what went really well about it. And so obviously knowing what our strengths are can help us. We can learn and we can develop and grow stronger. And trying in itself, I think, is a strength as well. So it'd be nice if people can take a moment, now, and think about, what are your strengths? These are individual to you. What helps you get through your day? What do you offer yourself and other people, your job, your hobby, your volunteering, whatever it is? Take a moment and reflect on your own strengths and see if you can list, a couple, 2 or 3. You might have more, but start with one.
So, Rod, you're absolutely right. And I think the thing is that I notice with people and their strength is, I think it's part of the place we grew up in. We're often really quick to take that more modest view, to hide our successes. We're not good at being able to celebrate our achievements. But I don't think that that's a great thing. I think it's really good to be able to recognize your strengths. And that's part of what gets in the way of us developing more strength and resilience. And I think really thinking about, kindness for me is a strength. Determination is a strength. Having a passion for something. I bet that everybody watching this has something that they're passionate about. I bet there is something that they care deeply about. And I find that once you get people to talk about what it is they're passionate about, that's when that strength comes through for me. Fixing things, putting things back together that have, that's an amazing strength to have. Wanting to understand other people, having empathy, that's a beautiful strength. Listening, really listening. And having a survival instinct.
And I think another one to add to that list perhaps is knowing when to ask for help. I think that in itself is a strength. I know we've got all these amazing things that we're gathering in our toolbox to improve, our well-being and strengthen us. But knowing when there are times, and there will be times, there's always going to be times in all our lives when we just need a little bit of help. And reaching out to either, Bath Mind or a friend, family member is a good thing to do. It's a strong thing to do.
I think that's absolutely true. Because I often think that reaching out for help has been seen as a weakness, but I spend my days helping other people, but I still need help myself at times. And it's good to be able to be brave enough to say that. And I think that knowing that you do need help and working out how to gain that help is all part of building resilience. And I think people talk about resilience a lot, but not how to create it. So there are different components to resilience. One of them is competence and confidence. So we need to feel that we're getting something right and having opportunities to develop our own skills. Like I said before, that being passionate about something, a skill, a hobby, a sport, a pet, a person, objects, when you recognize that and you encourage it in yourself, that builds that confidence and that resilience. I'd like to ask again, do you take credit for your achievements? Is the bar set too high? Do you share your successes? Can you try and do that a little bit more? It can be as small as baking a cake or going on a longer walk than you did yesterday. It's okay to give yourself praise and to celebrate the achievements that you have. This increases self-belief It increases your confidence. Ros, when's the last time you said to yourself, well done?
Probably not recently enough.
Well, I think just, you know, we've done that today, just creating this course and doing that together. Taking, you know, it takes practice, and it's not boastful to say, you know, great job, you've done all right today. And I think it's important to say that to yourself far more often than we do. Another part of resilience is the connection and about your character, you know, that support network we've spoken about before, but it also can be environmental, objects and animals and hobbies. You use your pack and use what you've built along the way. We'll come to that and we'll conclude with that as well. When we feel like we're part of a community, we'll feel less alone. We're able to develop creative solutions to our problems. And by maintaining and increasing our connections, it gives us some sense of security. It helps us with our well-being. They help us understand who we are. If we ask someone we trust for some feedback, it helps us understand how the world sees us. And then some of those negative thoughts can be made smaller. It's very easy to get defensive when people give you feedback. I always try and ask for a bit more information. Of course, you're always going to get people that are rude, but if someone's giving me some critique, I often ask, tell me what it is that you think I can use that for to help me become a better person. And that really does tend to get you some value from some feedback, or it tends to mean that the person hasn't got any more to give you. But it's a way to be able to take control over feedback. And one of the other parts of resilience is that coping mechanism and taking back some control over your situation. Because when life's difficult, we're facing challenges and obstacles, it can be really overwhelming at times. I know that I can feel overwhelmed myself. And it might feel like we can't cope or we're losing control, especially if we're pulling all of the things that are going wrong or are difficult all in at one time, and it becomes a massive bunch. But by breaking down seemingly impossible problems and challenges into smaller pieces, it can help you rather than by lumping it all together. One way I do this is I write it down a bit like a brainstorm, and I split them into what I can control and what I can't control. I make small action points and I use a mind map. And then that way I can focus on one area to see if I can make a shift rather than trying to fight against, you know, everything as a great big mass. I do sometimes use distraction though, Ros, and sometimes I think that can really help. And sometimes I avoid things that I know are going to cause me problems. But just by having some support, it can really help in the process of letting some, and sometimes taking a step back from things and regaining some control of what you can. It helps to be able to see situations that are outside of my control. And that way I can develop coping strategies and assess, you know, what is something I can do something with and what is something that I'm going to need to live with. And if I am going to live with it, how am I going to do that? That's what helps people find a way to be able to bounce back.
I like what you said there as well about giving yourself a chance to step back a little bit, give yourself a bit of distance, mental distance, before you go in to sort of challenge how you're going to manage it, and writing that list, breaking down what's manageable and what's yours and what isn't as well, because there's always going to be things that are out of our control.
Yeah, and I found really, Ros, if I'm feeling lost or upset, I think the best thing people can ever give me is just that bit of time, so that it helps me to not feel so overwhelmed. Just that a listen, not being judged, someone showing me empathy and compassion, you know, allowing me to own my own feelings. And then if that person doesn't have the right things to be able to help me, maybe getting me to take some support, maybe visiting the GP or using a professional. But having someone check in with me when I've been in difficult times has been really, really helpful. I wonder what's been helpful to the people on this course. You know, Sometimes it's just about saying to a friend, I don't need you to fix me, but I just want you to hear me today.
Yeah. Being heard is powerful. Simple but powerful, I think.
Mm. And I think as we start to round up and conclude this course for you all, what I would say, and I would really draw your attention back to the plans you've been making across all of the ways to well-being, but also our additional ones in strengths and resilience. Make sure you take time to fill those in. Ros mentioned to you about making sure that you looked at your circles of connection, and that you think about your own strengths. And then don't be afraid to take time to look at our visuals that we've put in there for you. Those are just another way of using that mindfulness to just go in a little bit more depth into the images that we've given you. But I hope that this has helped you. And it's certainly been a really interesting journey for me.
Thank you, Jeanette. Yeah, I think there's so much, isn't there, within the 5 ways of well-being, and even though some of them kind of weave together and there's some connections between them in their own right, there's real evidence that these things work and improve our well-being.